Hi, everyone. Welcome. Good. We already have 50 people in the room. Welcome to the business case session. I'm Carol, part of the global team, and I'll be hosting you today. Let's give just 2 minutes so everybody can arrive. I will ask you in the meantime, what is the session you enjoyed the most in the Makers Festival so far? Can you type it in the chat? I'm curious, as I am in Brazil, as many of you know, then you cannot watch live all the sessions, right? So which session should I watch the recording for sure? I want recommendations. Hi, Grace. Good morning. Donut session today, Alex from Impact Hub Hero is sharing for sure. Navigating climate change, Luis, thank you for sharing. More recommendations. Which were the sessions that you have enjoyed the most so far in the Makers Festival? Just a quick check-in, 1 minute, while so we can start. This is your first session, Bettina. So, let's just start with a really good one. I hope you enjoy it. Mega trends, Tom. Yes, I was very curious about this one. Unfortunately, it was too early for me. That's cool. Keep sharing. First session for Maria as well from Ubatuba. Welcome. All right. Now I'm feeling the pressure of being the first session of, of many people in the room. That's cool. Okay, so we can get it started, but keep sending recommendations of your favorite session in the Makers Festival so far. It will be very useful for many people, I'm sure. I will share my screen so we can get it started officially. Let me see. Yes, all working. So yes, this session we have roughly 1 hour together, and we're going to talk about business cases study from 4 impact hubs. So basically, for you all to know, we have been interviewing 4 impact hubs to learn more about their model, how they are working, the numbers, of course. But these case studies, they are usually we have the main highlights, the numbers, which are important, and I'm going to bring lots of numbers today in the sessions, yes. But the idea of this case studies was also looking into each impact hub model in a more qualitative way as well. What are the learnings, right? What are the best community practices you have in your impact hub? What is your your favorite program at the moment and why, right? So we do have this balance on the case studies, considering the numbers, highlights, the finances, and all this information that is very important for us to know from a business perspective, right? But also the learnings of the journey of these 4 impact hubs. And how it's going to work today. So basically, I will bring some highlights of the case studies for you. And then I will invite one impact hub representative from each one of these 4 to share about one specific thing about their impact hub that I invited them to share. And just again, one reminder, we have the Innovation Awards session today, and you have the chance to vote on the Innovation Awards. We received 4 indications, but this case study, you're going to see that there are so many innovations in all the impact hubs. I'm sure that if we look into if we had conversation with each one of the 122 impact hubs we have in the network, we would have amazing, at least 122 innovations, because it's not only about one specific program, one specific project that you are running at your impact hubs, but it's about how you do things internally as well, right? Innovating in your operations, in your day-to-day activities. So yes, we have lots to share. And today is just a glimpse then of this 4 impact hubs. And also, the idea here today is to make you curious. On top of having learning and sharing from these impact hubs, to make you curious because we're gonna launch the complete case studies as part of the harvesting of the Makers Festival. So today you're gonna be curious. I hope you want to learn more about this for impact hub later on, and then you're gonna have the chance to do so once we launch the complete case together with the harvesting. Okay, a gift for the network in that sense. All right, and let's get started. The way it's gonna work, I'm gonna share briefly about each Impact Hub, and then we're gonna have them on board right after, right? So to get it started, Impact Hub Belgrade, for the ones who were in the European gathering, here is the picture. So many of you can remember of the European gathering in Belgrade here in their space. And yes, about Impact Hub Belgrade, they were founded in 2014 by Gaia and Nenad that shared this vision about transforming Serbia entrepreneurial landscape. And so they are doing. And they have a score of their theory of change working on empowering women, especially those in rural Serbia. And how they do it? Through multifunctional space, co-working, business consultancy, and programs, right? So they do have the core of the Impact Hub model in Belgrade, as you can see. And the main business lines are then, so the main revenue distribution is basically 35% in membership fees, 25% in event space rental, 22% coming from donor-led project fees, 13% from services. And here, one information is that it can be a little bit misleading because they mentioned that they need to hire, right? The services and the materials. So the margin is little here, so just for you to know. And 5% in consultancy services. So you can see how the revenue distribution is in Belgrade. In terms of the space, they have this beautiful 500 square meters of space, 2 floors, and they have around 70 seating positions in the space for offices, 2 meeting rooms, one flexible space for events, larger events, and one terrace right here, really cool one. About the community, they have 127 active members at the moment and over 500 alumni as part of their community. Some of the community rituals are the annual birthday party they have, quarterly demo day, monthly community meetups, and a weekly happy hour for the team. So really cool to work in Impact Hub Belgrade. As a highlight, in the business case that you're going to receive as part of the harvesting, we have the whole Impact Hub programs portfolio. But just to give you a highlight, they have their main, the program that they got most funding so far was She Knows. And it's a program that is focused on bringing economic inclusion for women in Serbia. So very much connected with their theory of change. And then in terms of team and governance, they have, in terms of legal entity, they have two, one for profit, one not for profit. And Gaia and Nenad, the co-founders, they continue in the operations and the leadership, right? So this is I'm gonna highlight this fact because you're gonna see that it also happens on the other business cases study, right? Because having the leadership, the co-founding team in the leadership, it's key for the Impact Hub success, and it is a success factor here. And I will highlight those for you in that sense, right? And then they have 14 team members, 10 full time, 4 part time, and here just for you to have an overview of what are the roles, how does it look like, right? But then you're gonna have time to look later on. And now I will open the floor for questions. So how it's going to work, please use the Q&A for you to ask questions to Impact Hub Belgrade, Istanbul, Baltimore, Manaus, who are the ones who will be here today. And use the Q&A channel, not the chat, please. So you can vote on the questions that that you want to be answered, right? Because we have a little bit of time limitation here. So please do so in the Q&A. And I will open the floor with a question because during our conversation, Nenad, I see you are already in the stage, which is amazing. I was looking at the presentation, couldn't see the screen. Thank you. Welcome to the stage. And during our conversation, you shared about the plans for the future in Impact Hub Belgrade. And one of them, it's about creating a virtual community in the metaverse. Super innovative, amazing. So could you share more about it? It would be great if you could also share more details about the pilot, because I know you are already running a pilot of this virtual community in the metaverse. And yes, would love to hear more about it. So I will pass the word to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And for the ones in the audience, share your questions in the Q&A, and we hope to have time to answer those. Nenad, passing the word to you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm so happy that actually we are talking about this innovative things to so many people who are new at the Makers Festival. This is their first session, so I hope it's going to be inspirational. For everyone who don't know me, my name is Nenad. I'm one of the co-founders of Impact Hub Belgrade, as Carol mentioned. And to steer up the questions that you may have for Impact Hub Belgrade, on a side note, Asterix, we are celebrating 10 years this December, so it's a big anniversary for us. I prepared a small presentation about the innovative pilot project that we are creating together. So I will share my screen. It will be a very short presentation. I'll try to keep it very smooth and quick. Let me just share the screen first. So it should be this one. And view slideshow. Okay, so let me just run it through. Okay, so there it is. And let me just start by giving you a little background of how this actual project started and how by accident we came to it, and not that far long ago. Sometime early spring, maybe it was March, or around March, we got a question via email from Payoneer about organizing an event at the Impact Hub. And for those who don't know about Payoneer, but I'm sure most of you know, it's basically something like PayPal kind of thing, like a payment platform. And we were thinking, well, okay, they want to organize some event at the Impact Hub. We are known for organizing events both hybrid, like online and offline. And when we explored a little bit further about their request, we realized actually what they were looking for was more than just organize one event. They actually wanted to organize a space for their community, for the community of their users, for us to kind of like help them in bring more impact to their customers. I think that they mentioned that only in Serbia they have 20,000 customers, and obviously worldwide we are talking like huge numbers. And we were like, okay, so let's accept the challenge and see what can we do. So what was really the ask, right? They knew about the metaverse that we created back during COVID time in 2021. 2021, we created this metaverse of the Impact Hub space, which we used as a kind of like a platform when we organize events. I'll show you later on. For it, you can follow different multiple agendas virtually, both in space and off space online. So they wanted to actually, to see if we can somehow, create a community platform for primarily their users. And then through this platform, the Payoneer customers can actually, or audiences, let's call them like that, can actually access the impact content that we create here. For those who don't know, we're quite big on events. We have like more than 10,000 people per year passing through our space. Most of these events are commercial for external clients, right, customers, but we also do a lot of our internal events as well, especially when we want to actually promote something or test something, some new idea or some topic that we have. So we got this specific task to create and to develop the platform for the community, and then to maybe think of how can we pilot this in the next couple of months. We got a modest budget, 100,000. Obviously we negotiated. We hope it will be more. They knocked us down was less. So we said, okay, well, let's see what we can do for that amount of budget within the time frame, not longer than a year. But it's not really a project of a year, because it really depends on the growth of the platform, right? So it may be very short. So we created this beautiful Impact Community platform, and you'll have a sneak peek here into this. This is basically how it looks. It probably reminds you very much on Facebook. I like to call it internally, it's like a Facebook for impact makers. The beauty of it is that actually you can, of course, like in any platform, you can personalize your user profiles. It's very easy to navigate. It has a search option, so you can search where for the topic that you're interested in, and so forth. And it took us a couple of months to create this over the summer. And what we innovated in this platform was also to introduce the events page, and this is the metaverse side that we have it for. Um, so the purpose of the platform is obviously to fill it in with the top of trending topics, and all the recordings and podcasts and blogs, you name it, whatever the community and whatever we create, that we offer to this platform, and then we can inspire some other entrepreneurs and small business owners who are using the Payoneer payment platform to be inspired how can they actually insert the impact in the business what they do. We wanted to make sure that they also follow our event programming, if you want to call it like that. So that's why we also introduced the Impact Hub Metaverse. I'm wondering, probably I'll leave the playing of the link by at the end of the presentation, so you can have a quick view of it. But before we go into the actual view of how it looks like, I just wanted to put you in the mindset of this platform, right? So imagine you're a small business entrepreneur, or just starting your business, and you are, spam with all these accesses on different topics, or how to start a business, or how to do this, do that. What we try to offer to this platform is actually an easy access, and also an exchange between peers who are maybe in the same position as you are. And like I said, it's a pilot phase. So in this pilot phase, of course, we are very ambitious, and we have an ambition to grow this platform from 10 current users who are testers. Uh, once we launch the platform at the end of the month, we want to really be aggressive and reach to 5,000 and maybe 10,000 respectively in less than a year. We're testing in Serbia, but obviously, it's open to other countries, and we hope to scale this pilot if we see it works, and we improve it in the bugs and all these kind of things that we have, like any platform may have, and obviously, leverage on what we have, and this is the community of communities. So like I said, at November 27th, we're going to have an official launch of the Impact Community platform, powered by Payoneer. We'll operate this platform for the next couple of months to test how it works. We would like to invite, of course, any Impact Hub from our community to share this opportunity with their local communities, and to reach out to those other Payoneer customers worldwide. We think that the two geographies to test in the next phase in the year to come probably would be one advanced region, UK or maybe US, and then the other one that's very much in the need, like Ukraine, for example. But we are not set on those countries. And with that kind of power and our collective network power, we hope to really grow the platform towards other sponsors and funders that would be interested to stand behind something like this. Our end goal, of course, is to add to our network's ambition to reach 1 million of impact makers, and we hope that through these numbers we can have our small but maybe substantial add-on to the total numbers. Well, thank you. I would just ask Marilyn to maybe play the video. I'll stop sharing my presentation, and perhaps you can see a little bit inside of the platform. Thank you, Marilyn.
Hey there, and welcome to an online community by Impact Hub powered by Payoneer. Today, we'll be walking you through basic functionalities of this community and telling you what members can expect once they start joining. Because it's an online community, all of the members will get an option to create their profiles. I will sign in for now because I already have my profile, but by providing their emails and their first and last names, they'll be able to join the community. Once inside, besides the regular update by community owners, every member will get their own personalized newsfeed. In this newsfeed, they'll have all the information in form of articles, questions and answers, events, and opportunities that are relevant to them and that they are passionate about. The entirety of the content inside of this community is organized in topics. Depending on which topic a member follows, this is how their newsfeed is going to be generated. But because not everything in this community is text, graphics, infographics, and similar, we have also prepared a very own immersive Impact Hub experience in which all of the members of the community will be able to join and watch live all of the events that are happening inside of this community. And not only live, they'll be able to watch it on demand as well. This is a true to life replica of the Impact Hub Belgrade office, and all of the spaces that are usually having events inside of them will be available here as well. Thank you very much. And for every information, in addition to this, please make sure that you contact people from Impact Hub Belgrade.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Nenad, for sharing this with us. It's really, really impressive, amazing. Thank you for that. And we have plenty of questions for you. However, as I mentioned, the time is short today. So I will share the most voted one here. So here we go. So it's from Martina from Impact Hub London. Hi, Nenad. Great achievement so far. What has been the biggest challenge in maintaining the momentum and keep expanding your community? So this is question from Martina.
Thank you for the question. It's very short. It's always a team because it's all about the people. It's not about the space. It's not about the chairs. It's about people, and it's always the hardest to keep. The team that's committed, that is hardworking, but also fun because no one really likes to go to work. You all want to have fun, and that's very very. I think the challenge that. Personally as a founder but also professionally as a manager, we've been always struggling in the past, especially after COVID. I think that really changed. So we work very hard on keeping the team and trying to find new ways of how to inspire team to stay and to contribute to the community growth.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nenad. If you can reply to the questions in the chat, it would be amazing. But in the end, if we have time, we will continue with the questions as well. Nenad will still be here with us. Okay. Thank you so much, Nenad. And now we will continue and share about the next Impact Hub. And yes, I know everybody, it's a little bit short. We could have a 3-hour session, but let's continue. And let's talk about Impact Hub Istanbul. So, Impact Hub Istanbul was co founded in 2016 by Ayse and Sami. One fun fact about this starting journey is that they didn't know each other before starting an Impact Hub. So, on top of a business partnership, they built a friendship from the start by that time. And they have so as main focus for next years to continue the supporting as social entrepreneurs, increase the numbers of entrepreneurs supported, challenging private sector resources to the entrepreneurs, empowering entrepreneurs, impact measurement capacity to the team, to the community, and also engaging on the Turkish diaspora, right, and how to bring this group and interact with them. And then in terms of positioning, Impact Hub Istanbul, they put themselves as the bridge between corporates and the impact-driven ventures. And this is very much embedded on their model and how they work. In terms of the business lines, they have around 56% as coming from consultancy. One comment here is that the design part of their programs they consider as part of consultancy, right? So it is a little bit of programs, but just for you to understand where the percentage is coming from. Then 32% of the revenue comes from programs, 8% from memberships, and around 2 to 3% from events and bookings. In terms of the space, they have this amazing space of 650 square meters, around 30 seating positions in the co-working area, 7 offices, 1 larger private office, 2 meeting rooms, and 1 larger events room. In terms of community numbers, they have 87 active members as part of their community, and they have as community rituals, basically the year members breakfast and holidays party. In terms of contents, again, in the business case, the full one, you're gonna have their portfolio there explained, but just to highlight one, they have the Food Back, which is a program that is acting as this bridge between entrepreneurs of the agri-food ecosystem and the corporates. So very much aligned with their theory of change, with the focus areas that they are working on. Then in terms of governance, they have a for-profit entity and a not-for-profit entity. The not-for-profit, one curious fact here is that it's shared with Ankara, Impact Hub Ankara. So it's a shared entity they have. Both SEMI and ISE continue dedicated to Impact Hub operations, and they have a shared leadership. And they count on an amazing team of 11 people to make all this impact and everything happen. Here is a little bit of the roles again, so you can have an overview. And again, opening the floor for questions for Impact Hub Istanbul. I want to invite Semi from Impact Hub Istanbul to join us on the stage. Please send your questions through the Q&A channel and vote on the ones that you really are curious about. So, as you see how it works, the time is short, so we can prioritize them. Okay. Hi, Semi. Welcome. And to
Hello, Carol.
open the floor. Hello,
Carol.
floor.
Thank you. Hello.
Sorry. Do you hear me, Semi?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Amazing. So you mentioned in one of our conversations, right, for the case study, you mentioned that most of the service are founded when we talk about the programs, right, and the consultancy. You have this approach of being the bridge between the corporates and the social entrepreneurs. So it would be great if you could elaborate more on that. So what is your approach and how do you develop these corporate partnerships? And also, as a second question, but connected with everything, for those who don't know, Turkey has been through very difficult economical times with lots of inflation. So it brings lots of instability, right? And definitely challenges for the Impact Hub in the end, right? So it would be great if you could share with us how to navigate these uncertain times. What are the main lessons learned from your side? So yes, about navigating the uncertainty in terms of economy, right? And so passing the word to you, Semi, and the channel is open for questions as well. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Carol. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here and share this with you. Maybe I can start by adding another fun fact to Carol. When we met Ayşe, surprisingly, like we didn't know each other, but we also didn't have one single common Facebook friends, which was a very popular platform at that time. And we still cannot figure out how this has been possible, like considering that we both have broad networks, like we still couldn't solve the situation. But it has been a good connection in the end. Hello again. I'm going to share my presentation very quickly and continue from there. Just a second. Yes, I hope you can all see. I think it's well, since I didn't hear anything. So basically, I'm gonna start with I'm gonna take 2 questions holistically. So one was how to stay financially sustainable in a volatile economic environment, and the other question is about our approach to develop relationships with corporates. I want to analyze these together because they are very interconnected in our case. So starting from the financial sustainability and economic volatility angle, I mean, we all had problems that you can imagine, like in settings like us. We had a massive devaluation of local currency in our environment, like really high inflation, limited resources in the market, and very stressful situation, especially considering that when we were first established, we made the wrong decision by getting a loan in euro currency, and our loan euro was 3 Turkish liras at that time, and currently is 37. So imagine the monthly installments that we had to pay in our local currency, and that was a bit of a survival situation for us, like in the beginning. And we said like we have to get out of this situation, and what can we do? So like obviously the natural answer was that who has the money, and in our case it was the corporates, because first they had the resources, but they were also more quick in terms of developing businesses compared to grants, because like we didn't even have the luxury to waiting for the grants in our local situation. So like we try to understand their motivations, ambitions, and what means the value for them, what are the elements of value for them, what are the elements of value for us, and what's the dynamic between these, because like impact sector, when we were first established, especially going back to 2015 to 2016, was so new that like we had to find a common ground with corporates in our setting. So it was very important for us to understand the value drivers for them. And there are a lot of learnings that I will share, like in the next slides. But first, I'm going to start with the biggest learning, which is a Turkish proverb, which means debt is the brave man's whip. Like for us, this was the biggest learning of the process, because debt created a big amount of stress, but it was also a great motivator for us to develop all these programs and projects with the corporates. And when I consider now, like I think if we didn't have this debt, like we wouldn't be this strong in the ecosystem. This is a framework from Bain consulting company that shows the B2B elements of value. Like I saw this framework recently. It shows how value is perceived in corporate settings, and I found it relevant to our case. You can look at the interactive map. It's called B2B elements of value. When you type in the Google, you will see it. And it's great to brainstorm in terms of like what kind of value could be created for corporates. But based on my experience for 7 years, I think it wraps up their motivations quite well. So what's our approach to developing corporate partnerships? I want to explain this through a metaphor, and the metaphor is simit, which is like you can see it like the Turkish salty donut. Like we have been talking a lot about donut in these days, and I was trying to find a common ground to communicate our approach to corporate partnerships, and simit fit very well in my mind for various reasons that I'm going to explain. So first of all, like what is the cultural value of simit? I want to tell about it a little bit. First of all, it's a very like the cheapest food product probably in the country, and you can find it everywhere in Istanbul. Especially, you can find it almost every street. And if you take public transportation, for instance, in my case, I take the ferry from the Asian side of Istanbul to European side of Istanbul every day, and you will see people eating it, and also not only eating it but also sharing with the animals, particularly the seagulls. And it's a very nice cultural figure that also resembles the donut a lot, actually. And it's also represents our way of approaching corporates in our setting, because it's first of all it's a great icebreaker. It creates a safe and trusted environment, it is affordable, and it creates the common ground, because like when we consider the corporate relationships and considering our impact agenda, it is so important to find the common ground, because otherwise the language we use can be very complicated for corporates. And it's perfect for setting the common ground, but it's never also enough alone. Like you have to find different accompaniments. Otherwise, it's very dry and it's hard to swallow or digest. And so you need to find things that will be complementary. And these accompaniments in our local culture is like, it can be Turkish tea, it can be cheese, it can be olives. But our experience tells us that like you have to find the common ground first, otherwise the relationship doesn't continue at all. So that's the CIMMYT part. But if you leave it like that, and if you don't add cool things or attractive things for the corporate and things that can talk to their culture, it's also not enough. So like two main lessons will be like the common ground as safe as possible, and accompaniments as rich as possible. And I find this approach very relevant based on our lived experience.
Sami, sorry to interrupt you,
Yes.
but I'm gonna need to ask you to wrap up so we can continue. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry?
I'm gonna need to ask you to wrap up
Yes.
so we can continue. Sorry.
Yes, just final slide in mind. So like I'm gonna share a corporate example that represents our work with the corporates. So that's one of the biggest conglomerate groups in Turkey, and they came up to us asking for a program that's a social entrepreneurship award program that we were doing with another client. And our approach to this situation was that like we shouldn't do a similar project, and we asked them to like we channeled their interest into something different, and that was a program that supports new projects and initiatives instead of just rewarding a particular enterprise. So we came up with a program that's supporting new projects that come not only from social entrepreneurs, but also creatives, academicians, and activists in developing new projects that addresses the social environmental problems that Borusan also has priority. And in this case, like in this way, we could enlarge the impact maker target group. Like it not only includes social entrepreneurs, but also includes creatives and academicians and activists. And we could reach a group that we couldn't reach before. And like we also created with this program, Borusan applied to some global CSR awards as well, and they got 2 global awards, which also helped our visibility as well. And maybe one last thing that I can say is that after we are doing the third cycle of the program, and after the first cycle of the program, the corporate was also very, their language has changed a lot. You can see a testimonial here from them. They start to speak the impact language. And they also try to start to add neat things themselves. So they found a documentary director and allocated a budget for this director. And that documentary director is creating the documentaries of every team. And this is broadcasted with large groups, and it helps a lot the visibility of the program. There's an idea for our network that I came up with here, but I can maybe share this later on. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Sami, for sharing. Then the most voted question, very, very quickly, from Zoe. She's asking that consultancy is one of your core services that you provide in Impact Hub Istanbul. What are the best practices that you can share in that regard? But very briefly, Sami, in 1 minute, if you don't mind.
I mean, in consultancy, like the most important thing for us is to understand the corporate's priorities. Like, is it access to innovation? Is it increasing corporate reputation? Or is it like communications related priorities, or is it a combination? I would think, because like depending on the department you are in touch with, if it's an innovation department, they want to access pipeline of innovations. If it's a corporate communications department, reputation is for them the most important thing. So biggest thing I would say is that to design the program around those priorities, and also bring to the table the most like the biggest strengths that we have as a network.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Semi, for joining us. As you can see in the Q&A channel, many questions. So I will ask you, Semi will still be here with us. So I'll ask you, Semi, if you can comment and reply to those questions in the Q&A channel. It would be amazing. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us today. And yes, and let's talk about Impact Hub Baltimore. So let me share my screen again. Very dynamic session today. So Impact Hub Baltimore was founded in 2015. And one very interesting fact about this founding time in Impact Hub Baltimore is that they started as a community breakfast in 2012, doing community breakfast. But then they got to a point that 100 people were going to the community breakfast to talk about impact, to talk about social innovation. And then they realized there was a need, there was a demand for something like Impact Hub, but then turned out to be Impact Hub Baltimore in 2015. Their theory of change centers on shifting mindsets, building relationships, and fostering ecosystems of opportunity. And they have a specific focus on supporting historically underinvested entrepreneurs. As business lines, so the most of their income are coming from programs and consultancy, 40%, then 20% coming from memberships, 3% events and bookings, and around 30% coming from grants and donations. Their space, it's around 100 square meters. They have 14 offices, 3 meeting rooms, and 1 larger events room. As their community numbers, they have 215 active members and over 1,000 alumni members as part of their community. They also have some of their community rituals, a monthly virtual new member onboarding, annual end of year celebration, Yappy Hour, where the members can bring their pets to the space, and a quarterly town hall, which is a very common event that Impact Hubs do, right? And then as content, one main highlight here is the base network, which Impact Hub Baltimore is working as the convener in this program for the 2nd year in a row. So convener of those organizations that are working as business assistant and support for underrepresented groups. And they will talk more about this program very soon. So I'll stop here. And in terms of team and governance, Impact Hub Baltimore, they are fiscally sponsored by a third-party organization, and they are in the process of transitioning to become a not-for-profit. So they are in this process at the moment. Michelle, who is one of the co-founders, remains leading the operations, and also the 2 other co-founders, they remain as advisors. So still the interaction of the co-founders in the long run of the Impact Hub is very key. And they count on 14 members, 10 full-time, 4 part-time. And here you can see a little bit about the roles distribution that they have. Again, Q&A open. Please add your questions and vote on the ones that you are more curious about. And I want to invite to the stage Michelle and Asia from Impact Hub Baltimore. Here you go. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And then to start with the questions, it was super inspiring to hear how you embed inclusion and racial justice into your overall model at Impact Hub Baltimore, since the memberships to the programs. So it would be great if you could share more about it. And then connected to that, if you could share more about the Base Network program, because it's super interesting and again, very connected with the core, with the essence of Impact Hub Baltimore. Yes, I'll open the floor for the 2 of you and Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, hi there. I'm Myasia. I'm our communications and engagement manager. We're really grateful to get to share and discuss a little bit about what Impact Hub looks like in Baltimore today. Michelle, do you want to say a little about yourself?
Hi, everyone. Michelle Geis. I'm one of the co-founders and currently serving as our network director on the team. And yeah, good to be here with you all and share a little bit. I'll let Myasia take the question about the first question, and I can work on the second.
So when I was talking with Carol, and this year I got to meet a lot of folks at the global gathering, it was really nice to hear the shared passion that we all have about creating social change. I appreciate the grace you might give us today. America's having a very special time. And so right now it feels heavily emotional to talk about the focus that we have on racial justice. It is something that we try to center because we don't believe that economic progress can happen without realizing how we've arrived at where we are right now. And in the American context, in a very unique way, a lot of that has to do with systemic injustices as it relates to the racial disparities in wealth, in health, and social determinants, down to just about every fiber of why does one person experience something differently than the other. Oftentimes, if it's coming to race, the question can be tied back to their experience within a very racialized country. And so our role in how we play into that is being able to help build intersectional movements and to bring together people that are working alongside each other. So our members are quite diverse in the sectors that they work in, and the programming that we offer and the facilitators that we choose to bring in for both connection events and for skill building events are all within the effort of finding folks that are values aligned, understanding that we need to come from an approach that is relevant content-wise to our community. Baltimore is a majority minority city, which is different from a lot of other cities in America, which means that we have a large Black population, and that outweighs our other racial demographics. And so we could not do our work, we could not best serve our locale if we are not having a heavy emphasis on what racial justice and economic justice look like hand in hand. And so we're really proud of the fact that we have 2 times the national average micro business owners in our city, and we try to work with them in ways that are really unique, because small business in America can count as anything from like 50 to 250 staff people. And the business owners within our city have a special subset of needs that they have with micro business owners, mostly having less than 10 employees. So we try to give a voice to that unique experience and learn, what does that special case need? How can we bring in other assets and resources from within the city and from within our partners to be able to best champion these entrepreneurs to access the supplies, the resources, the relationships that they need, that oftentimes, due to racism in America, particularly Black Americans, have been pushed out of spaces where they could access resources and relationships that we all know are pivotal to being able to bring your business to success here. So I know that we have a short amount of time, so I'm gonna clip there. There's so much to say and so much to feel in this space, so appreciate you all holding space for this important conversation, because in the American context, it will only get more important as we move forward. But I'll pass to Michelle now.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, I had hoped to be arriving in a more hopeful mood this morning, and I'm seeing a lot of the support in the chat. just around the sort of state of affairs in the US. And, while that is like a major kind of factor for how we operate, Baltimore itself has been through so much and has experienced so much disinvestment and division over the years that we're often in stark realities of these struggles every day. And so I think when in times of crisis and instability anywhere, we kind of end up focusing back on what we can control locally and coalition building here. And so I guess sort of the way that ties into what Maisha was sharing and sort of the question around the base network is that we know change comes from the ground up. And the only way to really make it is to stay aligned with people that are thinking and moving like you and staying in dialogue with folks. And so we've been in coalition with 15 other small business support partners, entrepreneur support partners, neighborhood organizations, the government are kind of all made up in this 15 partner coalition that's called the BASE Network, which stands for Business Assistance and Support for Equity, since March of 2020. When the pandemic hit, it had been planned for some time as a learning initiative to connect more partners in the city, initiated by one of our foundations here, and quickly pivoted to be acknowledging that the pandemic was going to have an outsized effect on Black and Brown entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs, immigrant entrepreneurs, folks that are traditionally excluded from systems of power and money here, and therefore underinvested. And so, we've had multiple phases of working within that coalition. Initially, sort of just providing information about where people could go for emotional or for, sorry, I'm reading the chat at the same time, for pandemic relief. And then sort of we're able to mobilize as a partnership to have over $8.5 million of grants that we were part of getting out the door to small business owners, as Maisha mentioned, many who are smaller than 10 employees or less. And really saw the way that helped to not just keep people afloat, but actually allow people to get access to funds that they could put back into their business to sustain over the long haul. And so we're now entering sort of a third phase of this organizing with the BASE Network. We've gotten a fellowship from like a federal level fellowship called the Economic Recovery Corps program. And Charlotte, who's here with us from that program, is helping us to really envision what the third phase of this work looks like, along with all these partners that now have had really deepened relationships with one another over the course of 5 years, and built a lot of trust and goodwill and kind of momentum. So we're really asking ourselves like what we are able to do beyond our roles in the ecosystem as organization, and really look at the systemic and structural barriers that underinvested entrepreneurs face when they're trying to grow, and really get upstream of a lot of those barriers, see what we can do from a perspective of collective action. So we'll actually be on Thursday of next week, part of the city's annual economic development summit that is organized by the city, and hosting a breakout session with a lot of small business owners to really think about systems change, understand how they experience the system in their own business journeys, and then ask ourselves a lot of questions, both Impact Hub as a coordinator of the network, but also the partners in the network, the partners that we have in our networks beyond the formal network, and then also business owners, and how we can really link together and push in directions that are needed in order to guarantee the vibrancy and fabric of our local economy, and for those for resources to be flowing in a more equitable ways. So I'll stop there and open to questions about any of this.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Maisha. I see There is one question here. We hear a lot that sharing and running an Impact Hub in the US is difficult. What would be the advice to any Impact Hub trying to take their first step to start an Impact Hub in the US? Any advice from your side for the ones who wants to start in the US a new hub?
Yeah, I mean, I think Impact Hubs are best when they think about community, first, second, third, and last. I think ultimately, like, our strength really comes down to our people. So getting to be in relationship with other people that may want to start an Impact Hub and are thinking and moving in similar ways, but bring different skills to the table is really vital. And then getting out there and being in touch with people who you think are going to benefit from your existence as a hub. And that's really different in every context. So just, getting as rooted down as possible in the context and the people around you and understand what's your unique value proposition. I will note, all of the hubs that have remained in operation over the last several years in the North American context have now all incorporated as nonprofits. So I certainly think, both the economic environment that we're in and the sort of philanthropic landscape that we operate in allows for some access to capital that is not, as expensive as in the for-profit space. And then I think it also just allows us to be very mission centered and clear about how we deliver on a mission, sort of ahead of how we deliver on the bottom line. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle, my Asia. There are more questions in the chat, in the Q&A channel. And I'll ask you to please, if you could comment and reply to those questions, it would be amazing. More than questions, you have messages of love from the network. We are really all sending love to you. And yeah, we also wish for a more hopeful news, but it just makes even more essential to have Impact Hub Baltimore and the other Impact Hubs in the US. So thank you for all your work, and thank you for joining us today. All right, so continue and let's talk about Impact Hub Manaus. I'll share my screen again. And I know we might be a little bit over the time today. I didn't do the best time management, but I hope you stay with us because it's a really amazing case, one more amazing case today. So Impact Hub Manaus, they have started their journey in 2016 and was created by Juliana and Marcos. They met in ISEC. I mentioned here because I know that many co-founders and Impact Hubs met each other in ISEC. And their theory of change is focused. They have recently updated their theory of change. So also a reminder to all of us, the theory of change is always evolving, right? And their current theory of change is focused on supporting territorial development and creating lasting opportunity for local innovators. They have, in terms of business lines, 36% of their revenue coming from programs and consultancy, roughly 38% from memberships, and 26% from events and bookings. In terms of the space, they have a 1,500 square meters. They have 28 offices, 40 fixed desks, 2 meeting rooms, and 1 larger event space room. They have over 400 members as part of their community, and as their community rituals, they have a monthly community coffee, one-on-one onboarding for new members, and they do various events for the community depending on the topic that they are more interested about. In terms of content, again, the whole portfolio is in detail in the business case, but one highlight here is the Leveraging Impacto, which is basically an acceleration program for early stage entrepreneurs. And one thing that I would highlight about Manaus is that they mentioned that they always give a financial support in the end of any program because they believe this is a change of mindset, right, from the start. So even though it's early stage like this one, they still have a grant in the end of the journey for some entrepreneurs. So this is a very interesting fact. In terms of team and governance, the founders continue there leading the Impact Hub. So here you can see Marcos and Juliana, both of them sharing the leadership of Impact Hub Manaus. They have 20 team members with them, 17 full-time, 3 part-time. And here is a little bit of the roles that they have in general, right? And again, open the floor them for questions in the Q&A channel for Impact Hub Manaus. And I want to invite Marcos to join us. Thank you, Marcos, for joining us on the stage. Yes. All right. So, Marcos, about Impact Hub Manaus, as part of your plans for the future, you mentioned that you are working on the creation of an investment fund for the Amazon and that you are already testing 4 different models. So can you share more about that with us? I was very, very curious about it. So opening the floor with this question, and please everybody share your questions and vote on the ones that you are more curious about in the Q&A channel. Marcos, passing the word to you.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Carol, thank you for inviting us to share our experience here. And yes, about the fund, we have 2 focus here in Manaus. The first one is how we can develop in territories, and the same way how we can develop in business, because we understand the entrepreneurship as a tool to develop in our region. And you are in the heart of the Amazon region, the Manaus, our city is Manaus. And here you have a lot of opportunities, and the same way, a lot of challenge. And you have more 6 programs work with different stages and different focus. But these programs is not enough to provide the development you want to see here. For example, you have one program to create new business. You have another program to deliver education opportunity for the vulnerable people here. But all this program need money, because for us, the money is meaningful access to health, access to education, access to new opportunities. And sometimes you don't need the money to make decisions, and you want to make decisions how this money attend these people. And because of this, you create the fund. And the fund you have 4 focus. The first one in philanthropy. You select 10 movements and groups already did some actions in our regions, and you fundraise money for them. The other focus is the Leverage Impact. Leverage Impact is an acceleration program, and you invest like $5,000 into $25,000 per business, and you already put money in 14 business in the first year. Now you go to the second year for 21 business, and the 24 business you already repayment 80% of the amount you put in this business, because sometimes the big funds search for the business, advanced business, but here in our regions the business is in early stage, and the early stage don't have money for them, and because of this you create the Leverage Impact. You work with the technical systems and the investment. And the third focus is about the business led by women, because here we have a lot of, but without money too. And we create the program called Tesumi. the Zoom it's like a I don't know in English, but one technical for put all the fibers like this wall here, and create the network to support every one inside the network. And the Zoom put technical systems and money, but just in business led by women. And the fourth focus, you did a study about the creative economy to how to improve new metrics, economic metrics to our regions, because sometimes here you work just with the government, and now we want to show for them other opportunities, and you put in arts, culture, and network to mobilize handcrafted and basic tourism, and it's and about our results now. You are already fundraising $2,000 million in 2 years, and you have a plan to create more programs to deliver this money, because it's 2,000 million. We already used it 500,000 dollars. And yes, that's it.
Thank you so much, Marcos, for sharing all those initiatives, right? And not only one. Thank you for sharing. And also, there's a quite interesting request in the chat that for you to share more about the art behind you. So people are curious to see.
It's from one artist here. You select all the, I don't know in English, quadro.
I don't know either. Sorry, everybody who don't speak in Portuguese.
But it's from our program called Board, yes. Creativa Hub. Creativa Hub, it's a program focused on to deliver technical system and money too for the people work with arts, culture, and like this. Here's a board from Raiz. Raiz, it's a guy work with indigenous people here in Manaus, and they create. And they have one exposition, I don't know, in New York.
Oh. Amazing, beautiful. Thank you so much, Marcos. No more questions, I believe, at this point, but you can always reach out to Marcos later on, to Marcos, to Nena, Michelle, Maisha, to Sammy, everybody. You can reach out directly. I'm sure that everybody will be happy to reply to you. Maybe, Maureen, can you invite everyone to the stage just to say last S? We are already over time. I'll invite everybody to the stage. Sorry about that, but I hope you have enjoyed the session. This presentation, of course, will be shared with you as part of the harvesting, but you're also going to have access, as I promised in the beginning of the session, of the detailed case studies of each one of these impact hubs. So yes, enjoy it. This was just a taste for you to be curious about it. Thank you so much, Marcos, Sammy, Maisha, Michelle, Nenad, for joining the session. And yes, I wish you everybody a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the next session and see you later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody.